one of those drivers that's below the cut line, needs some good rounds, some good races to put himself above that cut line. 14th isn't going to cut it to move you in to the next round. You got to have top 10s, probably top 5s to make it much past round number 1. Here's drivers flying in formation. Connor Horn on the back of Seth Knoll here for third.
Yeah, Horn's kind of drifted just a little bit further back, is now caught back up to fourth, is now trying to work on third if he can get around Seth Knoll and Ricky Springer. It's been the same 5 names more or less near the front, minus Cameron Hearn, who's been doing a fantastic job getting himself, vaulting himself to second. Now, it's funny we're seeing these 2-car breakaways for the lead. It's very interesting to see because we saw it with Knoll and Weisart. Now we're seeing with Cameron Hearn and Weisart, as Knoll's got a train of cars in behind him, all trying to get past him and into that third spot.
And the first one in line is Ricky Springer. He's going to look low, going back to the bumper of the one. Now going to send it to the outside where I feel like it's going to set him up for a solid run down the front stretch. And then right behind him, Connor Horn closing in slowly. Ryan Hartz again continuing to work his way towards the top 5. And now Springer looks to the outside.
Oh, boy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is tight racing here, Kyle, as they roll into turn 2.
Yeah, interesting. Right, look at Ryan Hart's way on the outside as well of Connor Horn. And Hart's right now scored 4th in the live standings. Currently leading would be Jake Nichols. Then it's Ricky Springer, Beckner, and Hartz. JT Poole 7 points above the cut line. Scioli 8th. And drivers currently out. Mitchell, Hunter, Newbegin, and Curhan. Those things haven't really shifted and shuffled a whole lot. But Seth Knoll putting himself in contention for this championship if he could win this race tonight. But right now he battles for 4th with Springer, Finian.
Yeah, you got Ricky Springer there. An aggressive move with both cars on the apron. That's always asking for trouble. Trying to keep the one down there as much as possible. It worked. He's able to get the third. Connor Horn a little bit of a bump to the back of Seth Knoll. Knoll trying back on the bottom. See if he can get that third place spot back from the 51. Oh, it's Connor Horn. Hits the white line, gets a little bit loose, saves it, and actually continues a run off the corner as a train starts to 4, the 42, the 3, and the 26, all waiting in tow as Connor Horn tries to get into the outside, hits the back of the one and taps the wall.
I'll say he might have tapped the wall there. It's getting more aggressive as we get closer towards the battle for the lead, but right now on board with the 5th place car of Connor Horn, and boy, he is in a tight pickle here. As you see, the first 2 are those not in the playoffs, and then 3rd through 7th is these guys right here. Oh my gosh, they are cutting it close whenever they're coming off the corner.
Yeah, Seth Knoll's playing with fire here, I think, a little bit. He kind of chopped the nose of the 42 last time by, and Connor clearly didn't appreciate that. And he did the same out of turn 4. How many times are you going to deposit before someone else takes a withdrawal? Connor Horn to the outside now of Ricky Springer. Or to the back of Ricky Springer. Sorry, go ahead.
Try to catch the 51 sleeping there to see if he can sneak around the outside while he's preoccupied with the one, but you saw Springer throw the block there, and Horn caught a little bit off guard, can't quite get there as Knoll comes back at Springer as they go side by side on the straightaway, and here comes Ryan Hartz trying to insert himself into the equation to get to the outside of the 42, couldn't quite get there though.
Oh, now Poole, look at Poole.
Wow.
Oh, he's so close with the 3 of Hartz. Eric, this is intense racing. I know it's on the other side of the track, but what updates do you have for us?
You think this is intense? Well, Seth Noel's just chilling. Listen in.
Ooh, that was a weird bug.
But his teammate Travis Beckner is not having the same sort of race.
Where's Dawson when I need him?
Yeah, where is Dawson?
I need Dawson to calm me down. I'm driving like a pissed off teenager right now.
So obviously Seth Noel, very relaxed guys, laid back, but Travis Beckner, and he sounds so uptight there in the Miller Racing channel.
Getting exciting. Drivers chasing each other all over. Connor Horn just took Ryan Hartz's line away, went right in front of him, and they both rode the rim here at Chicagoland Speedway all the way through 1 and 2. They've single filed back out, but the intensity is rising, and I get the feeling there's a lot of drivers, maybe not Seth Knoll, but there's a lot of drivers, I think, that are running each other's patience down to the bone here.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of guys are, you've seen quite a few aggressive moves. The guys chopping people's noses, running each other down to the line, elbows out, putting people on the wall. We've seen it all, a little bit of everything here at Chicago so far. So a lot of guys getting slowly irritated more and more as the night goes on. We're still barely up to halfway. Just a couple laps shy of that point.
There's JT Poole running in 7th. He's right in the middle of this chaos as he's worked his way up from 21st inside the top 10, as there is the 8 of Slate still looking to the outside, trying to get a run to get around the Beckner machine, but to no avail as Springer continues to lead the conga line. Actually, scratch that. Knoll leading the conga line head in the 3.
All the while, so deeper in the field, there's an equivalent pack forming up here. Sturgill and Delonte Ballard almost coming together. Shackelford, Robertson, Tyler Nichols, and more as we go back to Horn and Springer. And the 42 takes the spot away as JT Poole looks way up high in turn 1 and 2.
And that was after Connor Horn literally almost went into the grass trying to get past Springer. Springer almost pushed him down there in the tri-oval, trying to get on by, but Horn was able to make it work. As you mentioned, GT Poole also trying to make some moves work as we cut back to the leaders. As they've been having a blast, I'm sure, just with each other, breaking away a second clear of everyone else. You can see everyone else in behind Seth Knoll in third, a second gap.
Man, if only Cameron Hearn was in the playoffs. I mean, he would have had a good shot at making it to the next round, but for now he's just contending for the win, and he's the only car that's been able to keep it close with Weishart since the restart. We know that the one of Knoll has had speed, but we approach halfway, he is quite a bit back. 2.5 back to the leader, Weishart.
Lap 67 is complete. And here's Cedric Hunter working on Ryan Swan for 16th place. Douglas Newbeging, another driver. These two, Hunter and Newbeging, drivers below the cut line coming into the night. Neither is in position to advance if things were to continue as they are. So they know they have to move forward, as does Ryan Swan, who's not in the playoffs, but trying to squeeze his way between Nick Silver and Cedric Hunter, but he will not get that opportunity.
No, he will not. He's kind of stuck down there, a couple cars ahead of him in traffic. He's trying to work his way on through Ryan Swan, Cedric Hunter, Nick Silver. Cedric Hunter and Silver fighting side by side, battle 15th between them. And up ahead, 3 wide coming off the corner. Connor Horn, Ricky Spur for a second. Gone back to 2 wide. Door-to-door contact between the 51 and the 42. Ryan Hartz, he smells something in the water. He's trying to go back to the inside. 3 wide again.
That was wild. Ricky Springer looks to his left. It's Connor Horn in the door. Down into turn 1. Horn's got the advantage, but game on. They have traded paint now. And it's go time. Eric Wineland, what you got?
Hey guys, this team, Solid Rock Performance, that's Springer, Hartz, Poole right here in this battle. They are not happy with Connor Horn. Listening to Rafe Slate also in here talking about it.
Wreckish, Ryan. Oh, that was so bad.
Talking about Connor Horn taking the line away from Ryan Hartz earlier on in the run. All 4 of those drivers in Solid Rock Performance are very upset with the 42 right now and the way he's racing. Yeah,
we saw that, him take the line away from the 3 earlier. Now that's fair game. It's just not something that's nice, right? Like it's not illegal. It's just not nice. And I think, as I said a couple laps ago, we're not playing nice anymore. It's playoff time. You got to go. Here's the problem, though. If you create too many enemies, say that of an entire race team, Finian, that's a short-term gain, long-term loss. Oh, yeah, Curran in the wall out of 4.
Oh, gets a little bit. Did he get forced up there, or just?
No, I think he just got wide and hit it.
Okay, I was going to say, I mean, yeah, it's playoff time. I mean, everything's going to kick up a notch, especially for the guys that really could probably just use a win to just kind of get themselves a little bit more secure. And especially with the leaders right up the road, Horn's done fighting around because these guys are just losing more time and wearing out their stuff trying to fight with the leaders. Meanwhile, actually, Seth Knoll has moved on really quickly. He's gone on past Cameron Hearn, now trying to chase down David Weishart.
That's probably the best place to be, as they are 3 wide back there with Kern Beckner and Jake Nichols, who is still working his way through the top 10, but not at a pace that I would expect.
Yeah, Nichols just hasn't had the traditional speed, but I hesitate to really assess it now. Let's talk lap 130 and see where he's at. But again, just hasn't really been in contention for the win. But frankly, anyone behind Connor Horn hasn't either. I think you're right, Finian. He was a bit of a cork in the bottle, but now that he's not directly defending, he has actually found some speed. Last time by, he was one of the quickest cars in the top 10 last time by. But here comes JT Poole, who was a hair quicker.
Yeah, Poole trying to now come back at the 42, saying, come back here, I'm not done with you just yet. You can see, look at the focus on his face. Trying to catch the 42, trying to see if he can get a run here. He's going to look to the outside. They're both catching Cameron Hearn really quickly. Hearn, it seems like his stuff's burned up, so when they catch up to him, it should be quick work, but could see maybe a 3-wide battle between these two, because especially it seems like there's not a whole lot of love lost.
Yeah, that one car has definitely picked up the pace here on the longer run. Bit surprised by that, as seeing quite a bit of separation now throughout the field, and Poole gonna look, not gonna have anything left for Horn yet, but they are both making up time on the 4 of Hearn.
Into turns 3 and 4. Seth Knoll is all over Weishart for the lead now. He's run that lead effectively down to nothing. All the while, here we go for third place. Connor Horn goes on by Cameron Hearn, and JT Poole will follow suit as well. There's the 28, 23, 07, and 77. Jacob Bell on a recovery charge here to get back in the top 10 after that pit road incident on that first run down pit lane.
Yeah, good for him. It doesn't seem like that damage has hindered his progress a whole lot, other than really just setting him back a couple of positions. You could probably use a caution, and we might see a caution here as these guys get really close to each other off of turn 4. Battle for the lead. Seth Knoll on the bottom. Weishart, who's been in charge of majority of this first half of this race, is under attack again from Seth Knoll. And Knoll going to absolutely throw it into the corner. Can he complete it? Gets the slide job done. Secures the lead.
Knoll needs a win, and he's into the next round, but David Weishart looking to do the opposite of that, looking to make sure that he doesn't make it into the next round, but just losing the lead there, as, again, the 1 to 33 have been the strongest cars all night, but I did not expect the 1 to pick it up on the longer run.
Yeah, interesting to see how things change throughout this race. It is still very racy around where Ricky Springer has fallen to, back into the fight with Jake Nichols, Brandon Bowie, Rafe Slate, and then in the background is Brad Slaughter Jr., another driver that had a slip up on the pit lane sequence. So still pretty aggressive, but things have settled and kind of widened out a bit, and that we've had a pretty sizable green flag run as well. We're seeing some tire wear come into effect here as well. We're about a second off pace from where we were at the restart, 44 laps into this run.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this running order. We've seen a lot of guys that we don't normally see in the front in the lead every single week, especially our heavy hitters, James Skyley and Jake Nichols this season, with Skyley still with race damage. He's just about probably to fall a lap down. He's not too far off from where the leaders are. And Jake Nichols just kind of not having the speed, looking more like a midfield car. I mean, again, his worst finish this entire season at 73 is 10th. So he's still done very well this season, but just in this race, again, it's not looking quite good. It just seems to be an off week for him. We'll see if he can kick it up, because we've gotten into the far part of this run. So at any point where I thought the 73's tires would kick in, it just hasn't kicked in for him.
Looked like Ballard and Shackelford might have kissed the wall a little bit before going into the corner, but yeah, Springer on the way backwards as Slaughter looking forward. Beckner looking to rip the Larson line as they're coming across the front stretch and down to our own Eric Weiland. What you got for us?
Hey guys, checked in with Bowie Esports. They're the only team I hadn't really checked on because none of their drivers are in the playoffs. Here's Brandon Bowie, Frankie Barroso talking about what's going on right now.
I'm not gonna lie. Feel nervous being around these guys that are in the playoffs. Try not to do anything stupid.
This thing is a boat.
You know, there was a song that talks about being on a boat. Is it like that?
There was that Kodak meme. Let me drive the boat.
So Brandon Bowie concerned about running around the playoff guys, trying not to make any mistakes there, but they're keeping things light. Frankie Barroso driving a boat and having fun with it, I guess, here tonight.
No, trouble. The 83 bounces wildly off the, was that the 28 of Beckner? That was a big hit there, but they keep rolling, Finian. Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, I was going to say, that was actually Ricky Springer. Springer got a piece of the wall. You're going to see it in the replay here. That 51 gets tied off at turn 2, hits the wall, and the 83 catches the piece of it. Oh. Great save on his part. But the 51 of Springer, I think, starting to struggle now.
And then there was this, just prior. Travis Beckner to the bottom of Cedric Hunter. Watch this dive here, and it doesn't quite play out as the 07 comes down the racetrack. Right there, they touch.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of guys drive a little bit more frustrated. They're just throwing dives into the corner, just kind of hoping things stick and then losing momentum overall. As Jake Nichols looks like he just got around the 23 of Brandon Bowie.
And 4th through 8th in the points right now, separated by just 2 points.
Wow. Incredible. Great action here on the track, and a lot of drivers we don't typically normally see right at the spearhead of the field. up there. But Connor Horn, actually, while we're watching all this, Connor Horn has gotten past David Weishart as Weishart starts to fall off the pace. Seth Nola is up clear over a second ahead of the 42, but who knows, that might not be for long.
Still looking a little further back. Jacob Bell still on the door. Oh, almost got into the wall there. Him and like Douglas Newbingen still on the charge, trying to get back inside the top 10 after his mishap on pit road. But definitely starting to see some cars fading as the run continues to go
Springer.
on.
Sorry to cut you off. Ricky Springer coming down to pit lane this time by.
Yeah, I wonder, guys, we shouldn't be too far off from our pit window. About 10 laps from now is when I'd expect most drivers to need to come to pit lane, but maybe Ricky coming early here to satisfy a different problem, perhaps. But is this in our window? 55. It is in our window, so you can go.
It's pretty close. He's probably earlier than he would have liked, but the car is looking really slow, and I think he started to really burn up that right front.
So,
David Weiser coming down.
Yeah, so pit window looks to be open, Eric.
Yeah, so 3 drivers down here in front of me, Ricky Springer, Nick Silver, and Ben Pierce. Pierce and Springer are teammates here at Solid Rock Performance. This is on the early end of the window. The window opened with 62 to go. That was about 8 laps ago. Remember, I said 45 laps to go. If the race ran green the whole way is what I expected. These guys obviously didn't feel the tires were going to last. Nick Silver is going to be Ricky Springer off pit road right there. So these guys deciding to get the tires early and see if they can hang on this next run. Meanwhile, David Weishart pitting right in front of me here. Brad Slaughter, Jacob Bell, these 3 together as a pseudo team, if you will. A lot of guys coming
on the radio to come to pit road. A lot of guys coming to this time by. Whoa,
4 tires, fuel, and away for Weishart, Bell, and Slaughter down and away clean.
Yeah, there's still lots of racing happening on the racetrack as well. Rafe Slate, Jake Nichols, Cedric Hunter, and more. A pretty frantic period of pit stops. And one thing we didn't mention, how hard this pit lane is to get onto pit road, Finney. And this is an underrated challenge. It's almost as hard as places like Darlington and Dover. It comes up on you quick, and you got to slow down on a very flat apron. So it is a big challenge, and so far everyone's done a nice job.
Yeah, it's a sharp turn off on a pit road, so you got to be careful with it. He's got some 3-wide action. It's Cedric Hunter, Jake Nichols, Rafe Slate 3-wide into turn 1. And it looks like neither driver's lifting.
Oh, gonna watch out if you're the Ada Slate. Nichols gonna give him the room though, but Cedric Hunter completing the pass on both those guys, and it's the battle between the 2 purple cars of Slate and Nichols. I hope neither of those drivers have the Grimace shake. That would be a disaster.
Well, Cedric working his way by, he was shifting, and it's something I've heard a couple of other drivers do, is go down a gear or so in the gearbox just to get a little extra torque on corner exit now that your corner speeds are slowing up so significantly with the tire wear. But that's easy to make a mistake with as well. If you get that downshift wrong as the 73 and 8 almost come together, here comes the 23 of Bowie to fill the hole on the outside lane. 50 laps to go this time by.
Connor Horn still staying out, enjoying that clean air. Rafe Slate coming down to pit lane. He might be one of the only takers this lap, so a slow trickle of cars down on the pit lane. A lot of guys pitting at different times. I'm sure this definitely has to do with how hard they were pushing on this run. I think we're seeing a lot of the guys that weren't as hard on this stuff pushing a little bit further, but how much is going to be too much is going to be the big question, I think. Because you don't want to go too long on this run.
Yeah,
no, but you want to, if you're staying out, you're hoping for a yellow to come out as, or you just look at the 26 of Poole. That's the difference between new tires and old tires. Not so much for the 5 of Grant as he goes on the pit road, but just the amount of speed that you can see from the 26. Ooh, and right behind him.
Look at the 3 trying to carve his way through this as well. Ryan Hartz. See ya.
Carving their way through the field, looking a lot faster than the leader. Is running a little over a second faster than our leader.
And things are coming up quick, guys. We're under 50 laps to go. It's only about 25 minutes worth of racing. So, yeah, an overcut could gain you some on the back half of the run, but you also have to be worried about how quickly this race will end because of quick lap times and relatively short laps. That means you don't have all that much time to use on your overcut or undercut, so you have to consider that. before you spend a lot of time waiting out here. Maybe Connor's hoping for a yellow, but I wouldn't go too much further, or else you're going to not have enough tire to beat everybody, not have enough time, especially at the end of this thing.
Yeah, I would honestly only go another lap or so and then come in maybe a couple laps, but you really want to start thinking of coming down the pit road before it's too late. Sure, the tires may be theoretically able to go a little bit further, and you might have enough gas to go further, but you're going to be running out of laps to really make good out of those tires unless they're feeling that these guys' tires that came in, their tires are going to go off a lot sooner. And I'm hearing Douglas Newbicking, he's coming down to pit lane this time. I don't hear anyone else yelling out over the radio. And Connor Horn, race leader, coming in as we got a 3-wide battle in the middle of the field with some guys on fresher rubber working their way on through.
Wow, look at Springer. Oh my goodness. Got a handful there behind the 51. It's going to look 3 wide. Oh, that's a bold move to make, but when you have the newer tires, you might as well make use of them.
Cameron Hearn, wow, shooting the gap.
That was a tight spot. Look at Jacob Bell following through as well. Nobody's waiting for anything. Cedric Hunter's now your race leader, but here comes JT Poole on through. Jake Nichols would love to grab a point by leading a lap, but he's got to wait for the 07 to pit or pass Cedric Hunter.
Kind of curious, you think he has not led a single lap this race, isn't it?
I think that's why he's doing this, because every single point is going to count next week. He knows he's not having a great race tonight, so why not grab that extra bonus point? They can't take that one away from you, but positions certainly can be taken away.
You've got Brandon Bowie breathing down his neck. Michael Curran trying to catch back up the middle of this. And Cedric Hunter coming down to pit lane. Oh, he missed it, I think.
40.07. Yes, he did miss it.
Oh, wow.
That's unfortunate. Just we talked about how difficult it is. It's more difficult than it seems because it's a sharp left turn, and some slam on the brakes, lock it, goes straight, and just bailed out of it.
Not what he needs.
No, that's gonna hurt the rest of his race unless we get a quick yellow in the meantime. But as the 73, it looks like he might be making a way on the pit road.
Yep, just wanted to lead his lap.
Gets through.
That was about as efficient as you can get coming onto pit lane, Finian.
Yep, and did what he needed to do. Is now down on pit lane to get some service. Brandon Bowie is inheriting the lead of this race. Michael Curran out there. Frankie Barroso. Only a handful of drivers, 7 still out there yet to pit. Sorry, make that 6.
Eric Weinland.
Nichols easy into his box there. He's right sides up on the 73. It's going to be 4 tires and enough fuel to get them to the end. The curiosity here is if they pack a little extra fuel in for the diffuser, being a little closer to the ground, a little more downforce in the car. Depends on how they feel the handling is. Jake Nichols down and away clean off of pit road. So far, guys, a relatively normal pit sequence. Nobody really picking up any penalties, just the Cedric Hunter miss of pit road that you guys pointed out earlier.
Yeah, so Cedric will basically lose a bunch of time there, but otherwise he should be okay. The question now becomes, as now Michael Curran looks like he's going to hit pit lane this time through. The question now is if we go green all the way to the end, the chance for a yellow is probably lower than it would be if we had a yellow now. We would probably bunch up a couple cautions, nose to tail right after that. So you're really going to have to focus on this long run in anticipation of the race going green to the end here.
Yeah, and especially if you're one of these guys that came in early, Weishart and Knoll, because not only are they about to fight for the lead, they've been on their tires, probably one of the oldest guys on their tires. They're already 10, 11 laps in, and there's still some guys coming into pit lane that'll have almost 15 lap newer tires than these guys, and I think at this point they might be a little bit too far back, but guys like Connor Horn, who just came in recently, and Jake Nichols, although Nichols is quite a bit ways back. They have a chance to move their way up through the grid, especially as these guys' tires start to wear off. And we saw with Ricky Springer and Weishart, they were really starting to fall off the pace towards the end of that run. They're going to have to go even longer on this stint now.
And there is, there's the leader, Ryan Swan, the most recent winner from the Pro Series over Thursday night. And Kyle, I know you weren't there for that one, but I was looking through and thought, man, Season 2 Talladega for the Pro Series was the best finish for the Pro Series.
Whoa, Cameron, sorry, cut you off. Cameron Hearn and Travis Beckner getting at it on the back straightaway. Cameron Hearn going down to block him in the middle of the straightaway, so I think it might get a little bit racy between these two. I saw Hearn also just rocketing by in turn 2 and keeping that 28 close to the corner. You see right there, very close. And then on the back straightaway here, comes down. Yeah. And coming back live, Beckner tried to gas it back up to the inside, but can't quite get there. That 4 a little bit better on his tires, and going to slowly hike a little bit of a gap between these two, but you could see a caution here. We're talking about it.
Yeah, look at the 828 driving in really deep. Didn't love that, and there is definitely some communication going on. It's funny how well you can communicate with just your braking zone. Seth Knoll still chasing Weishart here for what would cycle to be the race lead. Swan and Miller still out front. And I think at this point they're just hoping for a yellow flag. I don't think there's much strategy that's going to go your way by staying out this late. 58 laps for Swan. He's going to be due to pit lane any lap now. But these two should cycle to be the leaders. Now the question becomes, for how long?
Yeah, that really is going to be the question. I mean, no one really behind him has got a significant difference in tire life except for Cameron Hearn, but he's about 6 seconds back from these guys. I mean, he has a chance of catching them, but again, my eyes are really looking down at Connor Horn. Seems like he might have either A, the freshest tires, and B, one of the quicker cars to be able to catch these guys.
And this could be the move for the lead as the 33 and the 1, they're side by side for going to be second at the moment. Jeremy Miller going to stay out. Swan to pit as they head down the front stretch and past our own Eric Wineland. What you got for us, Eric?
Radio from Travis Beckner, guys.
Cameron's playing with me right now.
Ayo.
Beckner not happy with the 4 car.
Yeah, I think we figured that one out. Yeah, that was fun. These guys are having fun up here, but this is burning up tires big time, guys, and not what they need to be doing.
No, I was going to say, I'm sure Connor Horn would love for these guys to continue. This is just going to make their tire life worse. Again, these are the guys that need to manage their tires, and they're doing anything but managing it at the moment. They're just trying to manage between themselves who's going to lead this race once Jeremy Miller comes down the pit lane.
The only one encouraging that is JT Poole, because he'd cycle to be third out of this, which would be a very solid finish for him if he could hold on to that. But Jeremy Miller still has a few more laps left before pitting, or he might come in this time, but David Weishart looking to take that win away from the 1 because that's Seth Knoll's ticket to make it to the next round, as Eric has joined us back once more.
Hey, something very insignificant for the race, but significant for a point situation is about to take place here. Greg Mitchell just came down for tires. James Scioli has disconnected from the session. Greg is 1 lap behind James, and he's going to get the point. That's going to put Scioli in an even more dire situation for points as the next going into the next round.
Yeah, certainly, and factor in that Seth Knoll came into the night below that cut line. If he were to win this race, he would be a driver that was below the cut line that is now locked, and that shifts that cut line another spot as well. So that it does not create a good situation for James Scioli, who has had up to this point a pretty exceptional season, Finian, and just like we said earlier, how quickly things can change. Scioli came into this race as the winningest driver on the season with 4 wins.
Bit of a hip check from the 51 and the 42 down the back straightaway as well. Talk about guys that don't like each other. Connor Horn's made enemies with the entire Solid Rock Performance team, and I saw Swinger take a little bit of a swipe to the left, and Horn had to check up and go down to the bottom. You can see now as they're racing hard here on the apron, now up into turn 1. Connor Horn should have the advantage here, but Springer's trying to hold him up as much as possible.
Very tight battle here between the 51 and the 42.
Whoa, took a swipe at him.
Oh my gosh.
Again, this is exactly what he did last lap.
It's not dying down yet either.
Oh, now it is.
Settles back in.
Commentator's curse. Now the battle's over.
Connor Horn will say arrivederci as he checks out from this.
I don't know if it's over. It's just on hold for now, I'd say. But Connor might be able to just drive away. I think that's what we're getting.
He's got 9 lap fresher tires. I don't think Ricky, as much as Ricky would hate it, I don't think he can catch back up. And now he's got to deal with Ray Slate. Gives him a little bit of a tap from behind. This is all a battle for 9th place here. Springer, Slate, Silver, and Jacob Bell too. How about Jacob Bell and his recovery? We saw him spun around. He's just outside the top 12 and might have a car that can break back in, but he's one of those guys that's been out there quite a while in his tires, so he's just kind of hanging on. But still, all in all, a solid run for the 77.
Yeah, missed the playoffs after Talladega, and he almost had gotten himself in. So what could have been Hunter, but he's still rallying for a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, and the thing is, he would have been just barely inside the top 20 if he would have won at Dega. So that would have locked him into the postseason, but that is not the case. And I was going to mention, look at Ed Robertson. He's 13th after spinning out earlier. I believe that was the most recent caution, which came out just a smidge shy of 100 to go, which oddly enough, back in season 3, that's when the last yellow came out for this race. So we still have less than 30 to go. But
I see a caution. The 4 and the 28, they found each other again.
Oh, here we go.
And he was all over his bumper in turns 1 and 2.
Well, and he's got 4-lap fresher tires. Here comes Cameron Hearn and Travis Beckner. Is this the race where it's going to blow out here? Hearn not in the playoffs. He's got nothing to lose. Beckner, though, certainly does.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's why I'm kind of surprised that Beckner's kind of encouraging this. Like, I would just let the 4 go because he has a lot more to lose than Cameron Hearn. But he's fighting him hard.
Well, he did mention earlier, they continue to slice and dice. He did mention earlier on the radio, where's Dawson Miller? Because that was his spotter / race coach, essentially. But
yeah, someone might want to dial up Dawson and get him in the car.
Where's your man?
About it.
He might be sleeping right now. Somebody better wake him up.
Do you guys remember last season with Cameron Hearn? He will play mind games with you all day long. And as long as you're willing to play, he will play right back. So I think he was laps down last season. I can't remember what series it was in, but he is certainly not above making your day miserable if you so much as cross him once. So if I'm Travis, I'm going to let this go, but I don't know that you have much of a choice right now with Cameron on better tires.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think Cameron now is going to kind of check out a little bit, and here comes Connor Horn right in behind the 28. He's made up quite a bit of time after getting clear of the 51 of Ricky Springer. He's going to jump to the outside and get that clean air and get that run. Try to get around the 28 as quickly as possible because he's got much higher goals set for him.
Yeah, so he's got a problem, though, right? Because if he wanted to win this race, he needs to have more time than he does. He's only going 0.3 quicker than Seth Knoll. He is 6 seconds back. And he gets almost run into the wall there out of 4 up by the 28 of Beckner as they go to town and start sparring with each other. Guys, we have just 25 laps to go. That's not a lot of time.
It isn't a lot of time, but I'm really curious to see how the tire life is looking because towards, like, as we saw guys get further in that run.
Oh, he's on the wall!
Oh, my goodness.
That doesn't help.
No, it definitely doesn't help tap to the wall for the 42. But the guys that stayed out on that first run and really ran hard, their tires were really not looking pretty by the end of the first run. So it could go either way. It really depends on how well the guys in the front have managed their tires. And again, they were battling kind of hard earlier. It's separated now. Noel's got a second lead over Wise. So as you look further back, this is not separated out at all. Ed Robertson in the middle of a battle with Delonte Ballard and Ricky Springer.
Well, there's the 5 of Garrett Grant trying to get in the mix as well. This is very close action with one of our playoff drivers as Springer continues to fall like a rock, although going to hold his own here for the meantime. Here comes Grant.
5, Garrett Grant hasn't really been in the picture much tonight. Started midfield, running midfield, but moving forward and all over the back of the 51. Drops to the inside. It is frantic back here, that's for sure.
Yeah, some might say Ricky Springer's falling like a solid rock.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, I had to go for it. It's too. He is falling pretty significantly, though. In all serious terms, it's not looking good for the 51 this run. Yeah, everyone behind him has gotten fresher tires than him, and they're all lining up to get past him, including Jake Nichols, who's 17th.
Yeah, he's right behind where they're 3
He did
wide
pit late,
currently.
and he's got fresh tires.
Oh, boy, they almost came together, didn't they?
Oh, right in front of him, too. Here we go. This can get ugly.
Here comes Jake Nichols. Oh, really late pit stop trying to take advantage of the tires. This is getting very
51
dicey.
and 64 touching behind. Wow. Dicey indeed.
He's just trying to manage it, bring it home to the finish. Hope for a caution to come out because his car it's just faded as the run continues to go on.
Struggling for sure. 20 laps to go next time by. Ricky Springer trying to salvage something here. He's still 23 points or so to the good. But you want to have a better night than this. Imagine how good he would feel going in next week if he was 10 spots better than this, maybe 16 spots better. A top 5 would really put him in a very comfortable spot to be locked in early in the race next week, but it's not going that way for him right now. And now he's got Skylar Shackelford to his inside.
Yeah, I was going to say, everyone keeps getting just inside, really can't do a whole lot with it, and now finally gets a run, though. On the outside, Jacob Bell also struggling in behind him.
Yeah, his car has faded a little bit on the longer run, and, well, this is the battle that will not die. No matter where they are on track, they always seem to find themselves together, and this is for the 7th spot.
I don't know how much is this is Cameron Hearn losing tire, or how much of this willing to play some head games with the 4-lap tire advantage. Here he comes back to the inside, powers off of turn 4. There's one driver I don't want to make mad. It's Cameron Hearn.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm curious to see how long this is going to continue before it just boils over, because there's only so much these guys can fight side by side. They've been fighting hard, blocking each other, doing all the dirty moves, a little bit of a bump from Beckner and a dive to the inside. It can get ugly real quick here if they both wanted to. And we're getting there.
Oh, he's touching. Oh, they just scraped each other, barely going through turn 4. But as that battle continues to go on, another battle that might be starting to heat up in a minute. Well, as we look a little further back, Delonte Ballard and Brave Slade. I was going to say Weishart and JT Poole, although Poole has lost a little bit since then, but he has caught the 33 of Weishart essentially as, boy, this battle continues right with Ballard, Grant, and Slade.
Battles everywhere. They're just trying to pick which one is the most volatile. 18 laps to go and counting. Running out of time. This is getting very interesting, to say the least.
Oh, absolutely. Especially throw a caution now into the wrench of thing. That will really shake up the order, and everyone getting on fresh tires will be absolute chaos towards the end of this race. Oh, it can very much happen here. Garrett Grant getting tight into Brandon Bowie. They touch off the corner, and here's Jake Nichols trying to collect from the mistakes from these two guys up ahead as he inserts himself into the situation, going to look up the inside as race light's all the way up by the wall.
It was funny as I was looking for that, and it wasn't one of the battles I was watching. It's just because there's fighting everywhere, and even the fights I don't think are fights.
Yeah, it really just changes on a dime when everyone gets clumped up together again. Everyone completely goes at it. Brandon Bowie still trying to find a way by him. Jake Nichols is waiting for an opportunity to present itself so he can get by these guys cleanly, because again, he can very easily be involved in a wreck here, and that's the last thing he wants.
All the while, JT Poole Hunter closing in on Weishart for second.
Yeah, he closed in a few laps ago, but had a bobble and lost a good bit of time, but he's made that back up, and we get a late race caution. This could set up the 26 of Poole in a good position to win. Oh boy, here they come.
Yeah, here they come indeed. The 23 to 73. And a fierce battle amongst the purple cars tonight in particular.
Yeah, they're showing it out here tonight. Bowie going to get a little bit tight off the corner. Slate with the run. Nichols is going to make it 3 wide. I think he really wants to, but knows deep down he really shouldn't force the issue too much.
And Nichols' night has gone from mediocre to just not good. Now 14th place. He really should and needs to run better than this. He's got, well, I guess he's still leading the points so by a lot.
No, he's got a cushion, but but it's not ideal.
Yeah, you don't want to leave yourself in any position to get knocked out with a bad finish next week, but it would require 2 bad finishes for him to get knocked out. Back to second place. Here comes Poole on Weishart.
And Poole's been hiking into this battle more and more, chipping off a few tenths here and there each lap. Has now got a really good chance off 2 here. Really good run. Going to throw it up the inside. Might have a chance to make it work. They got completely clear track ahead. Throws it into the corner and gets the pass done. Weishart trying to gas it up on the outside, but he can't quite make it stick. Has to get off the gas to make sure he can even make the corner. And 26 is up in second place.
Very good run here for JT Poole. I don't think he'll have enough time to catch the one of Knoll, but definitely a great pass for him. If he can hold on the second, that would be a really solid finish from the 26 car, especially considering the one of Knoll entered tonight from the outside looking in, and a win would put him into the next round.
I'm liking my pick from the beginning of this race. I don't think I even believed that he would have the run that he has had tonight. He hasn't been the most dominant. I'd leave that still in the hands of David Weishart. Has led slightly more laps than Seth Knoll, but that will change if Seth can bring it back just like this. He would love this race to go green to the end. Not many people are going faster than him. Hartz and Horn are, but they're still 4 or 5 seconds back. With 11 laps to go, he's looking very, very solid if he can just maintain and just hope and pray that those lights don't turn amber before the checkered flag flies.
I'm sure he would love to just yell at everyone in the Discord right now or in the racer and just say, everyone, stop it. Just don't wreck each other. Behave. Especially Cameron Hearn and Travis Beck. Actually, speaking of which, they haven't gotten really close to each other yet. No. They've got a gap between themselves. Hearn's got a little bit of a gap between himself and Beckner. Douglas Newby can try to catch up to Beckner and make a pass on him.
Yeah, crucial battle here as Doug Newbigging. He was caught up in a crash earlier on tonight, but he has rallied back to 9th. And Jake Nichols' teammate Delonte Ballard have a solid run in 10th. Garrett Grant in 11th, looking for that top 10. And then behind them, you got the 73 Jake Nichols. So very much time for the 73. Got 10 laps to go as they're coming across the stripe in front of our own Eric Weiland. What you got for us?
Solar Flare Racing Radio. Perfect timing there, Hunter.
Rafe is the biggest Ryan Newman I've ever dealt with. I think I got a run on him this time, so I should be able to hopefully get him. Until he sends it 18 cars deep.
Can we never race here at night again? Please and thank you. Make it like 11 a.m., 130 degrees.
Let's bring it back here at night.
Got him, let's go.
Good job, I got Ricky. Seth should be behind me. Been following me.
So Solar Flare on the up and up right now. Delonte battling away right there real tight with the 71 of Newbigging. And Nichols is going after Grant, guys.
Yeah, that was interesting. It's still very tight between Grant and Nichols out of turn 2. And the biggest Ryan Newman he's ever seen. That is quite the description.
That'd be a compliment?
I don't know.
It really depends on how you look at it. It can either be an insult or a compliment, depending on your outlook in life. But up ahead of these guys, Ryan Hartz just passed David Weishart for 3rd place. And Ryan Hartz, how about him? We talked about him not getting a qualifying lap in. Started back in 25th, worked his way all the way up to 3rd. So a solid run for Ryan Hartz. Meanwhile, for Jake Nichols in the thick of everything here. Middle of the field, trying to see if he can get past, who throws a hard block on Garrett Grant, trying to keep him at bay. Is now going to be a little bit side-by-side with his teammate, who's side-by-side with Douglas Newbigging.
That's a great way to put it. In the thick of everything. Yeah, he's got his teammate racing for a top 10. Jake Nichols still trying to get a top 10 to keep his streak alive. Meanwhile, they're catching Travis Beckner. So Beckner's going to try and block and hold his position. Then you got guys like Garrett Grant and Doug Newbigging who are trying to hold on for all that they can. And speaking of that, here comes the 5 of Grant to the outside.
Oof. Yeah, and in particular, Douglas Newbigging not running well enough to kind of undo his doom as he gets into the back of the 21 into turn 1. Those two not having fun with each other, but certainly not running catastrophically either. So he's only 5 points behind the cut line as he runs. And you guys mentioned Ryan Hartz, no wins yet this season, but 5 top 5s. He's inching closer and closer to getting the wins, and this is the right time to get hot in your season. If you haven't won now and the wins are coming but on the horizon, this is the time to do it. This is a very tight pack out of turn 2.
And speaking of Ryan Hartz, he actually just got past JT Poole in turns 1 and 2 last time by. So he's now up to 2nd place as Poole's starting to fall off a little bit again. There is a really solid 4-second gap back up to Seth Knoll, who's completely opened up the taps. With 4 laps to go, he's got a really good lead to work with.
Back here, the top 10 battle continues with Jake Nichols on that top spot. Now I'm going to look to the outside of his teammate, Delonte Ballard, trying to take 9th away. Add to that top 10 cushion as Slaughter in the wall. And another car in the wall back there. Looked like Slate.
Yep, Rafe Slate in the wall, Slaughter in the wall. And Seth Knoll can't see it, but if he could, he'd be wincing. He only needs 4 more laps of clean and green. Make that 3 this time by.
Can you imagine if he was watching the broadcast and having to see all the chaos that's gone on behind him? He would probably have an aneurysm with looking at all this stuff going on, with all the stress trying to deal with, because they're getting worse and worse in this little group here.
Well, the time is ticking, and the need to make a move is now if you're going to want to pick up another couple of spots like Jake Nichols is doing on the outside.
Who's found each other? It's the 4 and the 28 again. Oh, boy.
And throw Jake Nichols in the mix. 2 laps to go. 1 lap from safety for Seth Knoll.
And Nichols is trying to see if he can keep him inside the top 10. He's in 8th, and he can see 6 just ahead of him. Beckner gets awfully close to his left rear quarter panel.
Wow, then the 73. Oh boy. Delonte Ballard is through as well. 73 just scraping together
up in
a top
front.
10.
Up in front for Seth Knoll. Just came across the line, white flag in the air.
1 more lap to go. It's frantic back here for sure. Playoff contenders and drivers just looking for wins that won't get one tonight. They are in lockstep heading into turn number 1. It's frantic as heck. Look at the 5, the 28 to the top side. This is wild stuff, and somehow Jake Nichols drives through to 6, but nothing doing for Seth Knoll. A win back at Daytona. Since then, just 3 top 5s, but it will be a well-timed 4th and a 2nd win on the season for Seth Knoll. He locks himself into round 2 of the playoffs and wins at Chicagoland. All the while, a frantic
giant battle for 6. Wreck. Big wreck off of turn 4 and across the line. Some of them will come sideways. Somehow, it's going to be Jake Nichols back to 6th out of all. Oh, man. That was a heavy hit right there.
Well, you knew it was coming. You didn't know when, and they did it on the last corner.
Wow. We will go back and watch that in a little while. But Seth Knoll, Mr. Where did he come from? Tonight, it wasn't a shock, led 62 laps, but his season has been very interesting. 1 at Daytona, and then only had 3 top 5s after that. 1 came at Bristol, another came at Indianapolis, and actually it was only 2 top 5s after that, including his win. But tonight he will celebrate in victory lane for a 2nd time, and the best win, best trophy of all is that automatic lock into round number 2.
I was going to say, it's looking very much like a Ricky Springer season for him. Not a whole lot of, like a win here and there, not a whole lot of performance in between, but then finally gets to the playoff and things start to kick off. So it's looking good for the 1 year.
A very great run tonight from the 1. Going to provide a stress-free next round as they go into Las Vegas. Some of these guys, not so much, though. So we look at the finishing results.
Let's have a look. Seth Knoll, top of the board, and 4 of the top 5 are playoff contenders. David Weishart fitting in great effort tonight. Led a whole bunch of laps, but will come home a disappointing 5th. And Jake Nichols, he was 14th with like 10 laps to go. And Mr. Golden Horseshoe, P6 tonight in the 73.
I was going to say that entire group of cars by the time, because they ended up collecting more and more cars, they caught up to Cameron Hearn and Brad Slaughter, who were fighting up ahead. That became essentially a battle from 6th all the way back to 14th. It was a giant battle there at the end, coming to the checkered flag for those guys. But yeah, so Jake Nichols up in 6th, Brad Slaughter 7th, Hearn in 8th, Beckner finishing in 9th right behind the number 4, and Douglas Newbing rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, crazy finish there at the end for those vying for that top 10, like Brandon Bowie, Garrett Grant. Michael Curran got 13th, and Delonte fell back to 14th. Some of those guys were vying for their best finishes of the season, and it came together at the very end. Cedric Hunter there, another chase driver, or playoff driver, who is going to be basically, well, how the points look out, but it's going to need a win for sure to make it to the next round.
As far as the 5s position, he was EOL for the incident on the final lap, so he will drop to the tail of the lead lap runners. Ricky Springer, 25th. Now he's going to be leaning heavily on his playoff points because he is now 9th, 1 below the cut line. So that was not a good result for Ricky Springer. Doubly so that a driver below the cut line won the race tonight. And then real bad scenario for James Scioli, the winningest driver on the season, Finian and Greg Mitchell. Mitchell is a must-win next week.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's a lot of really good guys near the bottom of this order. James Scioli, 5 points above 7th. Michael Curran, just a point above the cut line. Ricky Springer, a point below the cut line. And then, as you mentioned there, Greg Mitchell in a must-win scenario, 29 points away. So he's going to have to really step it up next week.
And let's have a look before we talk to our finishers here. This is what happened coming to the checkered flag. It was the 21 that we saw turned around first. Let's see what happens. Watch the 5 right here. Turns the 21. And then all heck breaks loose from there.
Props to these guys for not really having it go down the toilet until they came to the checkered flag. They could have wrecked so many times before this.
And some of the hits right here. Ed Robertson comes in.
Oh. That was.
Just look at all the debris scattered.
Yeah, that was a messy one for sure.
Boom, confetti.
Boom, confetti indeed. But all that aside, it was an interesting race with lots of strategy. One of the drivers that benefited the most from that strategy and fought his way through the field. Tongue hanging out. It was a wild ride, JT. Third place tonight. Didn't run there most of the evening, but found your way there when it counted most. Take us through your evening and your charge up to finish in third, and that's a good point tonight at the very least.
Yeah, we needed that a lot for playoffs. I think we're only 7 to the good coming in, but I'd forgotten I'd finished third. That's how much we weren't really up there. So it took me a while to join the staging room. So helps us for the playoffs. Man, it was so boring. We almost got in a wreck super early on when Mitchell got in the back of Miller, and I went low to miss it, and Mitchell was still there. So unfortunate, but man, that was big for playoffs. I don't know where we're at the Auto Club next week, so it's probably going to run the same as what it did tonight, and I hate these kinds of races. So got to figure it out. Hopefully we're running good there next week too.
Well, should put you a P5 unofficially in the standings for next week, 10 above the cut line, JT. So things could still very well go wrong, but Auto Club next week going to be frantic as well. So best of luck to you there, JT, and thanks for chatting with us tonight. Good work.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Move on now to Ryan Hartz, who has still not won a race yet this season, but he is inching closer at the right time, Ryan. Position number 2 in this race. Great points night, puts you in position to advance next week, but you're still only 14 points above the cut line. No one's really safe except for Jake Nichols and Seth Knoll now. So how do you feel about tonight's race and advancing next week at Auto Club?
Yeah, I feel really good, actually. I did not expect to get second out of this. The car was just really, really good on those last 10 laps. I thought for sure Connor Horn was going to get me. I thought for sure I wasn't going to get Weishart. But I don't know, I found something at the end, and I was able to pass JT and Weishart. So I love Chicagoland at night. I don't know what it is. I did really, really good here last season. So I had confidence coming in here. But other than that, strong night, really needed this. I saw I was only a few points above the cut line, so this should definitely help and move on to Auto Club, which arguably I should have won last season.
Yeah, it was an interesting one last year, to say the least. Ryan, good luck to you next week, and congrats on a P2 tonight. We'll see you at Auto Club.
Yeah, thanks to you guys. Thanks to SRP also and Miller Racing. Everyone does a great job in the practice sessions, and we'll get them next week.
All right, moving on now to Seth Knoll, your race winner tonight. I picked you on the pace lap, Seth. I thought there was something magic in the way that you qualified. Although, to be honest, I didn't expect it to be as dominant of a win as it was on that last run. You led 62 laps en route to your second victory on the season, and I think we have to address that there's only been 2 top 5s since that Area 500 win. Tonight was something different. Take us through it. You're advancing to round 2 of the playoffs.
I was your pick.
Yes.
You picked me.
Yes.
That was a good choice. It's a good way to pick me. Yeah, we finally got our first pole. That locked us into the clash. That's all I was thinking about when I got the pole, not necessarily thinking about the end of the race. And we just had something tonight, I guess, that no one else really seemed to have long run. We're able to just keep 3rd to 4th, saving tires, and then run them all back down at about 20 to 30, and then just slowly click off a 100th here, 10th there, 2 tenths, and just slowly pull away, and then hope for no yellows late.
Well, it worked out. You led 62 laps, won the race by 4 seconds over Ryan Hartz. So you can skip Fontana in terms of the stress, but then it's Las Vegas, another 1.5-mile track. And Richmond, those are the next 2 that you really have to perform at to make your way into Homestead and have a shot at the championship. How do you feel about Las Vegas and Richmond as opportunities to advance through that round? And what's the plan next week in Fontana?
Plan is to win. I mean, come on. What else am I supposed to do? But looking towards Vegas, looking towards Las Vegas, that's one of our better 1.5 miles. I feel like the playoffs, all the tracks kind of fit my style except for Auto Club. Richmond, we were really quick last season. Kind of figured out some things in NIS earlier this season that we'll use once we go there. And we'll see how the dominoes fall. I'm sure we'll be towards the bottom of the playoff grid once we get there. So we'll have to work from the bottom and try and do what we did tonight.
Well, it was a great night for Seth Knoll. Brings home the #1 Toyota Camry to victory lane. Congratulations. We'll see you at Fontana and in playoffs round 2 at Las Vegas. We'll see you there.
All right, appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, Finian, that was a fun one. Seth Knoll, your race winner. That shakes up the playoffs. As far as the cut line goes, Ricky Springer tied with Michael Curhan for that 8th place cut line. But this is race 1 of round 1 done. Next week, Greg Mitchell in particular is in a must-win scenario, and there's many, many more that would love to get that win to lock them in.
Oh, absolutely. Cannot wait for everything to kick off next week. We're heading to Auto Club. That's going to be a whole lot of fun, especially with these cars. So that's going to be a lot. And these drivers are not only going to be on edge at that track in general, a lot of them near the cut line are just going to be on the edge in general because there's a lot riding on the line because they have a chance of not even making the playoffs if they don't perform well next week.
Auto Club is a very, very good racetrack to Michael Kern, so we'll see if he can go back-to-back there, but very great race tonight. I mean, racing all throughout, and props to those guys that are racing for the top 10 in the back. I mean, they waited until the last lap to crash, which that certainly saved some guys' races, could have helped others, but all in all, great battles, and congrats to Seth Knoll on the win and moving on to the next round.
I was still scratching my head over the move that Garrett Grant made there at the end because he kind of handcuffed. I mean, Michael Curran could have probably gotten another 2 points if he would have been able to use the run on the top that he had. And honestly, that EOL saves Ricky Springer because now the cut line is tied going in. Now, if Ricky can just beat Michael Curran and things stay status quo, he can get into the next round of the playoffs. But the pressure's on for Ricky Springer. What a fall from grace tonight that was. But an impressive drive from Seth Noel. Kyle, it was incredible what he put together, and obviously he's nice and relaxed even more so now to the next round of the playoffs, and I can't wait for next week.
As relaxed as he can be, locked in to playoffs round number 2. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home that $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. As far as the highest finishing driver, we're well on our way to sorting that out for 2023. The Area Cup Series playoffs continue next week from Fontana, California, but tomorrow night the Area Truck Series goes back to work also here from Chicagoland Speedway, and the same is true Thursday with the Area Florida State Builders Pro Series. 1 race down, 2 to go in Chicagoland of the Windy City. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on SimTV.